Alice falling down the rabbit hole. Alice falling out past what you know. Keep your eyes wide, stay in the glow. Alice falling.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Alice Falling podcast. I am Tammy, also known as Unacceptable Canadian Girl, and with me is my awesome co-host, Dave, also known as Perception Correction. David,
Why, hello there.
hello.
Thank you for having me. Looking forward to this journey. It's been a while. What have you been up to?
So much, a little bit of everything. So for those that don't know, Dave and I were on the broadcast podcast with Suze, Ash, and Hayden. And we did that for, I don't know, the better part of 2 years, Dave?
Yeah, definitely. If anything, just under.
Yeah, so it was awesome. We loved it. But unfortunately, there was many of us and life got in the way. So we had to call it a day with the broadcast. But Dave and I missed podcasting. So we decided to birth the Alice Falling podcast.
Tammy
So
gave
welcome,
birth to
everyone.
it, not me.
Why? You can't give birth?
Unfortunately.
Men can't give birth?
Actually, fortunately, no.
That's not what the liberals say.
No offense.
I'll offend. I don't care.
Yeah. So what have you been up to?
So many things, wreaking havoc on X, as I like to do, and going down many, many, many rabbit holes. But I've really missed the sharing of the rabbit holes on a podcast. What have you been up to?
At one point, I think I went through a phase where you went through the phase. I don't want to speak for you, but I think you'll agree. And then just recently, if you like those who follow Adam Mental on X, he posted about it too, where like all of a sudden you just get sick of like the doom and gloom of like, I don't even want to say this lifestyle, but like just like focusing on this subject matter.
Yep.
Where you decide, and that's enough. I just want to be a normie. I want to not wake up and try to analyze and try to think of how to solve and figure out on how and why this world's all going to shit. So I'm just gonna stop. I'm gonna do normal things like try to watch shows or play video games and whatnot. So I went through that phase for like, I don't know, I would say like 10 months where I just like, if you know me, I was the guy crushing books on all this stuff, making videos for a Perception Correction channel, and I just dropped it, and do you know what actually kept my focus away from it? And I'm sad to admit it, but I also no longer take part. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
World of Warcraft.
What?
That's right. I played World of Warcraft for 6 months.
Wow.
Yeah, roast me, don't care.
I mean,
Don't-
I'm not gonna roast you, but I'm old enough to remember when Ukraine was, pumping the propaganda and using World of Warcraft footage for it.
Close. I think you mean what's it called? Call of Duty.
No, they were using World of Warcraft.
No, they can't because World of Warcraft is like cartoons.
I'm telling you, it was a thing.
Okay, then they were trying to meme on Russia.
Yeah,
Okay, then that makes sense.
like
I
it
thought
was
you
a
meant, like-
whole.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I thought you meant like someone was trying to pass off video game footage, as in like, check out this attack we just like thwarted.
Well, they were doing that too.
Yeah, that's what I
They
meant.
were
So that's
doing
why I
that too.
tried correcting you with the Call of Duty business.
So for those of you that don't want to listen to all of this intro stuff because you already know who we are and you just want to skip, we actually are doing a mini rabbit hole today. So you can just like skip ahead so that you can listen to that if you want.
Exactly.
Yeah. And for those of you that want to continue to hang out for this intro bit, I mean, we're happy to have you.
Yeah. Also
So
true.
I have to agree. I did go through a spell there where I was like, nope, not doing this anymore. And I tried to be super positive and, that whole thing. And not that I like to be negative. It's not that. It's really hard, I think, once you're awake to not see things. And I tried really hard. I
Yeah.
couldn't do it though. I absolutely failed at it actually.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't blame you. I gave myself the parameter of like, if I don't go back to like this, fine, so be it. But I won't say that I'm not going back to it. And
Yeah.
it took a while, but here I am. Because I don't know, I just can't. I think I just need to take everything in moderation. Like before, it was nothing but this. It was like book after video after podcast episode after recording a podcast episode after watching a documentary after, and it was just like no break from the poo poo caca. So this time around, I'm just gonna do a better job, or try to, of like balance of like, okay, do this stuff and then actually go hang out with friends that know nothing about this, or play a video game, or I still can't watch normal TV. Can you? Or like movies?
No, so I've been a little bit better and I've tried. So before I wouldn't watch it at all. I I steal my TV, so I won't pay Hollywood for anything and I stand by that.
Same.
But I've been stealing my TV forever. So for me, like that's just always been TV. But I have laxed up on, what I'll watch and stuff. So I'll give things a chance, and then if there's anything woke in it whatsoever, or I feel like they're pushing any agenda, I'm out. I will stop watching immediately. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. I've watched, I don't know, a couple movies, but usually I watch movies like they're documentaries. So as an example, I watched Blink twice. I watched that because they always tell us what they're doing. And I mean, it's a pretty good reflection of what was happening on Epstein Island for those of you that haven't seen it. So I do actually recommend watching it. Dave, did you see it?
No, I've skipped by it so many times now. Also, when cruising through my stolen TV, and by stolen we mean IPTV, like that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Just like the, I guess the equivalent of like what the DVD case would be when you get that logo searching through the stuff, and it's like, who is it? It's that guy.
Tatum.
Yeah, Channing Tatum, and it's like,
yeah,
he's like shoulder deep in like a pool or something.
Yeah. So you need to watch it. Actually, that is one. That's one movie. That and The Island. Also, I would recommend.
Have seen The Island. Is that by M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong? No, that's old.
Yeah, no, it's not M. Night Shyamalan.
Gotcha.
But yeah, like, so I'm basically watching things as though they're documentaries. So I'm trying to like find that balance of like, it can also be entertainment and it kills some time, but also pay attention.
Also, haha, now I know your plan.
Yeah, exactly. And then I've also been doing a lot of crafts because, well, me and the art scene, I'm into it. But
yeah.
Recently, and fitness has been a huge one for me. So I'm like rucking 10 to 20 kilometers a day. And then I'm doing weighted vest boxing and a bunch of other stuff. But I was told actually this week on X that I'm not a real human because there's no way somebody can cook food, do fitness, and do art. So I guess I'm fake.
Was this specifically because you're a female?
No. This was some other. I think the account was called Say Something, and this account like has followed me, I guess, for a while because I looked back at the comments to be like, dude, what's your problem?
Right.
And initially they were, totally fine and like would just comment normal things. But I get a lot of comments, so I don't always answer people. And a lot of times I post and ghost because I'm just trying to get information out there. It's not anything against anybody. It's just I'm just trying to get the info out and then I leave, right? Because I do work full time, believe it or not.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say that I know what it's like to have 140 or 50,000 followers, but I'm pretty sure like once a post catches on for you, it's just like impossible to even keep up with everything.
Like I try once a day to sit down and go through everything, but I think this person got, and this is just the impression, I don't know this for sure, but based on the way that the comments started to escalate, going from normal to very, very angry with me, I think they were mad maybe because I wasn't responding to them. I don't know. But anyways, then this person started commenting to other people on my post saying, she's not real. She's not real. Nobody can do this much stuff. It's, yeah, like, it's crazy.
So the other possible explanation could be that they have a sense of jealousy towards your achievement in hobbies.
Maybe.
Damn.
It's just ridiculous, but I was kind of laughing, and somebody else commented back and said, yeah, I'm starting to think she's not real. And so I was just like, Jesus, I'm sorry, I do a lot of things. I don't have kids, so I'm free.
Yeah.
I can do things.
That's what I say to a bunch of people. Not a bunch, but like people I've grown up with that are trying to do this or trying to do that, or like, how are you going to a concert on a Thursday or a Tuesday? Then yeah, bottom line is don't have kids. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Simple, easy explanation. Suck it, people that have kids. Well, good for you, but
Yeah, I mean,
I can
hey,
still
if
do
that's your
stuff.
thing, that's great. I made different choices, I guess. And so, yeah, I am a real human. Here I am.
Yep.
You've seen me. We've
Yep.
been in person together.
Yeah, we've hung out.
We threw axes together.
Yeah. Axes. Yeah, I think we eventually evolved into, what was it, knives, and was there
Yeah.
was there a ninja star, or is that my imagination?
Oh, I hope there was. I
gotta
feel
go-
like there might have been.
right?
I'm gonna have to ask Asher Suze.
Do you
Which-
think we went to? Sorry, do you think we went to Mario Zanyala's or Zala? You know which account I'm talking about on X?
Oh, Noah
like-
Fall.
Mario, the like the conservative butt humper.
Yeah, the Noah Folly or something. that
Yeah,
who you're
the
talking
bald
about?
guy, right?
I don't know. Maybe we're talking about the same person. Anyways,
That guy, he's like an axe throwing mogul. Like he has like multiple locations, but I
What?
can't remember the name of the company that he had. I know we went to Bad Axe Throwing when we went.
I can't remember. It was a new place for me because it was only like the third time in my life I've been near Toronto. So,
Right.
but I
anyways,
remember, I remember doing the axes and the knives. I don't know about the ninja stars, but I actually feel like we might have.
Yeah,
It was a while ago now.
I'm gonna have to go
Anyways,
back.
point
Yeah.
being, we're real humans.
Yeah,
There's
Yeah.
probably CCTV of us at the Axe place from like 3 years ago.
yeah, Mario, pull it up.
Yeah. Anyways, so rabbit holes.
Yeah, what's this podcast all about? Tell the masses.
Okay, so I had this idea for this podcast about a year and a half ago. I woke up from sleep in the middle of the night, and the name Alice Falling was just in my head. And I was like, that would be an awesome podcast. And you could just do rabbit holes. And as anybody that follows me knows, I love a good rabbit hole, as do you.
True.
And I love connecting the dots. And so I've wanted to do this for a long time, but at the time we were doing the broadcast and I didn't want to interfere with that. And I loved doing the broadcast. So I thought, you know what, I'm gonna just kind of set this aside and, maybe one day. And then, we stopped doing the broadcast and, we kind of had this opening to be able to do this. So, this is what we're doing. We want to take everybody down rabbit holes. So basically, what did we say? Twice a month, we're going to do an episode, and we
Yeah.
want to have some awesome guests on. And we want to kind of also hand it over to our guests to go down these rabbit holes. So we want the experts on them.
Yeah,
And
the
I think,
guides. People to
yeah.
guide us on the rabbit hole.
yeah, exactly. And I think there's a lot of things I'm an expert on for rabbit holes. I think there's a ton of things you're an expert on for rabbit holes, especially you are like the man for like the secret society stuff. And what was the guys that you always bring up?
The Bavarian Illuminati.
Yes,
Your
yes.
Sabbatean Frankists.
That's
your
it.
Council on Foreign Relations, your Bilderbergs, the list goes on.
Yeah, so you are the expert. So if I have questions about that, like, you're my guy. And so I think that's awesome. And I definitely know we plan to take people down some rabbit holes, but we also want to have some really awesome guests. And already we have some pretty crazy people lined up. I don't want to say anything just yet because we're still finalizing some of the details, but there is some serious rabbit holes coming up. And I think today's episode is a very good introduction to a guest that we will be having on soon. I'm going to be cryptic about it and I'm not going to give his name. But hopefully by next episode, we can let the cat out of the bag on that. And so, that being said, we are traveling down an Epstein, Canada, and kind of how it's all intertwined rabbit hole today.
Yeah.
Would that be fair to say?
Yeah. Mine's specifically going to be on. Actually, I'll just let you go first, and then. But yes.
No, go, because this was your idea.
Oh yeah, true.
Take it away.
Mine's specifically on, or the something that I encounter on X. Hate to keep referencing that platform, but whatever. Canadians, and then first, I think before we even get this started, and then me and you both have the same stance on. We have the allegiance to zeros of political parties.
Correct. Or
right?
or any entity of any kind that promotes anything.
Right. Like if you're an organization or entity or whatever that is adding to the whole concept of divide and conquer, not a fan.
Correct.
Right. So we don't align with liberals, conservatives, blah, blah, whatever, Republicans, Democrats, don't care. Take a little bit from everywhere. Don't align anywhere. So anyways, but if I was to say in Canada specifically, conservatives kind of have their shit a little more together than the liberals.
One thing, sorry to cut you off, that I do want to mention is we do have affiliation with one entity, and that is the Base Tea Company.
Mm-hmm.
So they are our sponsor. We were very fortunate very early to get a single sponsor. Yay for us.
Sick.
And you may also know them as Alberta Teas. And so one thing I want to mention just before we get this going is that they are doing a special intro for our podcast starting at on Sunday at 7 p.m. So that is July 12th. Yep. Starting Sunday, July 12th, for 7 days, they are offering a discount on the EST Unknown line. So if you don't know yet, the EST Unknown line is the t-shirt and hoodie line. They're actually doing special hoodies for this for our podcast. So go over to estunknown.co, and if you use the code Alice10, you will get a discount, but it's only for 7 days. So July 12th, which is when this episode will be launched, you will want to head over to EST Unknown.
Right now. Go right now. Stop what you're doing. Don't even finish listening to this and just go right now and buy stuff.
Yeah, like they have some really awesome stuff if you haven't seen it. And one of the requests was hoodies. So they've actually done up some really awesome hoodies. I saw the mock-ups for them today and was so impressed. So if you're into things like Tartaria, Atlantis, Antarctica, or you want to get yourself an Alice Falling hoodie or tee, they have them there. So yeah, go check them out. Anyways, that's the only entity that we are affiliated with. And they're awesome. So take it away, Dave.
All right. So encountering, and then also like to add on that what you hear here will be available in like a YouTube short version. So Tammy mentioned earlier that we're going to be dropping an episode every 2 weeks. In between, on no specific schedule, we will be sprinkling some visual aids, whether it be in the form of like a YouTube short or a video straight to X or whatever. But there will be some visuals to accompany this audio only podcast dropping in between. Okay. So, and everything that I talk about here will be available in video format shortly after this podcast drops, like the week after. Okay. Encountering on X, people going, oh my God, Mark Carney has connections to Ghislaine Maxwell. And then they drop that one picture that we all know.
Every time.
Yeah, of what his wife Ghislaine and some next dude standing at some fair or something.
What is it? Her name? I think it's Ghislaine.
I know. I just you know can't.
Ghislaine.
Yeah, can't
I
help it.
mean, you're not really wrong.
Right? She did help Jeffrey out. Anyways,
Yeah.
ayo. And then they'll get a rebuttal of like, all right, so whatever, it's a picture, da, da, da. And they don't have a follow through. It's my whole point. There's no follow through. It's just a picture drop going, haha, guilty by association by this one picture, and that's it. So let's give a little more ammo to the people that are posting that picture. And by the time this video comes out that goes along with this, some more visual aids to go along with it, shall we? All right. So that picture that we all know that Tammy can see right now, but you can't, was actually taken on August 10th, 2013 at the Wilderness Festival held at Cornbury Park in Oxfordshire, England. There you go. That's where that picture was taken. If anybody didn't know, now you know. The event took place on the private estate of Lady Tanya Rotherwick, who is who? Diana Carney's wife's sister. All right, so that's
Wait, what? Diana Carney's wife's sister.
Mark Carney's wife's sister. Hold on, Mark Carney's wife is Diana Carney. I just learned her name not too long ago. For the longest time when I've been typing her out or like talking about her, I've just been like Carney's wife. So, and her actual last name is Fox. Did you know that?
I did.
I did not until recently. Anyways, so
I don't know why I know that though, and I also just learned that recently.
Right. So, that's where that event took place. Blah blah blah. Mark Carney's wife's sister's estate is where it took place. All right. So, if you were to ask AI about the relationship between Mark Carney's wife's sister and Ghislaine Maxwell, to sum up the graphic that I'm looking at, or Grok's answer, pretty much says there's no credible public allegations of deeper involvement by the Carneys in Epstein/Maxwell activities. They had an acquaintance type relationship because they went to high school together. So Mark Carney's wife's sister went to high school with Ghislaine Maxwell, and also just summing up or whatever, paraphrasing this AI thing, which I will provide to you later on. Their connection just comes from a long-standing British upper-class social circles rather than direct personal friendship between the Carneys and Maxwells.
So probably like a circle of people that eat babies. But
yeah, exactly. Just see some baby feeders and then just like, hey, delicious baby, see you next time, ciao.
Yeah.
And they're like not really actually close friends or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So then just to respond to that in your back pocket, from the Epstein file drops, the most recent ones that you've been cruising through and whatnot, and a bunch of people have, from Ghislaine Maxwell to Tanya Rotherwick. And a very happy Christmas to you too. I love you and miss you. Kisses. So, I don't know about you, but anybody that I'm on a hi-bye acquaintance type relationship level with, I don't have emails with them going back and forth of them saying, love you, miss you, you know?
Yeah, I'm with you.
So, Grok kind of lies or just chooses not to analyze that and whatnot.
Well, all AI does, because Gemini will give you a similar answer. ChatGPT will. I've done this many times with this.
All right. So moving along in this relationship, back to the Epstein drops. We're going to focus on this one from Epstein to Peter Thiel, where he writes, as you probably know, I represent the Rothschilds. All right. Not going to get into who the Rothschilds are, banking, mogul, dynasty, the reason, the fake banking, and well, not the reason, but the main reason, or a main reason that banking is fake and gay. Biggest scam, in my opinion, in the world. Everything would be fixed in the world if we somehow, I don't know what the answer is, but if we came up with a different banking system, that would be step one to fixing what's going on in this world. But that's a different rabbit hole in itself. So let's talk about the Rothschilds, and specifically Lynn Forrester de Rothschild, because if you Google who is Lady Rothschild, you get this lady. And then, like, leading up to this in the last week, I came across like an Ian Carroll episode where he was talking about the Rothschilds and Epstein and stuff like that. And what he kept referring to Lady Rothschild as Ariane Rothschild.
Yep.
Which, like, right? Which is another Rothschild, but like, I went to DuckDuckGo, I went to Brave, I went to Google, I went to Yandex, and to all four of them, I typed in who is Lady Rothschild, and the answer I got was Lynn Forrester de Rothschild. So I don't know if he was just getting that wrong, or if all four of those search engines are wrong. I'm not gonna say anything's impossible, but that's what I encountered on my travels. So Lynn Forrester de Rothschild married into the Rothschild family, where she met her husband at the ever popular Bilderberg meetings
Oh my God.
back when she was there as a part of a company called fuck was it called, First Mark Communications. So she just got invited to go to the Bilderberg meetings because her company was, doing something that was obviously useful to the baby eaters, and that's going to be our new nickname for them, eh? The baby eaters.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm into it.
yeah, me too. So for the baby eaters, and while she was there, she met the top dog Rothschild at the time. I can't remember his name, but he has like a girl's name. He died like 2 years ago. Sir Evelyn de Rothschild,
Yep.
which was the top dog of the Rothschild family up until his death 2 years ago. I think it was 3 years ago. 4, maybe if I'm wrong. Anyways, married into it, blah, blah. Fast forward, Lynn Forrester, the Rothschild, let's start connecting her to what's going on with Carney and Epstein and whatnot. Has some property in Manhattan, uh, where she sold one of her properties in Manhattan to Jeffrey Epstein in October 2000 for 4.95 million, and apparently it was worth 13.4, whatever. Just gave him a deal, no problem. Later on that same property, Ghislaine Maxwell moved into that property as well. So, okay, cool. Now you have these people selling properties to each other. Well, okay, Lynn Forrester de Rothschild, how does she know Mark Carney? Well, Mark Carney and Lynn Forrester de Rothschild share a significant professional ties through their leadership roles in something called Council for Inclusive Capitalism. So if you look at what that thing is, that thing's just like, it claims it's a company, or I can't remember if it's a whatever, what is it, NGO or whatever the hell, but their whole slogan is making capitalism more inclusive, more diverse, more sustainable. The baby eater bullshit.
Yeah.
But anyways, they are number one and number two in that company together. Up until this day, Mark Carney
Wow.
has a business venture with, or like, sorry, like up until like right before he wasn't allowed to be part of a company because he became prime minister, but like up until the day where he had to stop having business engagements, he was working side by side with Jeffrey Epstein's boss. Yeah. So, sorry, 1 second.
So I want to stop you here because
Yeah.
I'm curious because I did not know Mark Carney's connection to the Rothschilds. This is blowing my mind because knowing that we were going to be talking about this tonight, I did a very large post on Carney's connections to Epstein, but in an entirely different way. So this is like a double rabbit hole. And I want to see if I ask AI, what is Mark Carney's tie? I passed English, I promise. What are Mark Carney's ties to the Rothschilds? What it says. So I've asked Gemini.
You got nothing. Ask specifically Lynn Forrester de Rothschild.
Okay. Ooh, it's giving us stuff. Okay. Mark Carney's primary documented connection to the Rothschild family is through his collaborative work with Lynn Forrester de Rothschild, the billionaire, philanthropist, and businesswoman, via the Council for Inclusive Capitalism.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm actually surprised AI gave that answer because if you ask it about Epstein, it's a no bueno.
Right. And like, I can't remember who said it. Like, someone said it best that I was listening to recently, how just like the Rothschilds pretty much spend money to have their name sanitized like everywhere.
Yeah.
Like it's just fact. Like when those Epstein files dropped, and like you would have that like search section of it on the DOJ website or whatever, and you would just type in Rothschild 1 week, and like whatever, let's say 2-3 weeks later, the like, amount of hits that you got or the amount of matches, it was just like, oops, it's less by 100.
Yeah. Yeah. And I noticed that I was deep in the Epstein files for a while of my life. And there definitely was more stuff on them in the beginning, and then it slowly started to dwindle away.
Yeah. All right. So it doesn't end there, though. So now let's talk a little more about Lynn Forrester, the Rothschild, a little more up my alley, what you mentioned earlier, and what kind of allegiances she has. Well, she is a member of the Council on Foreign Relations and also Chatham House, which used to be known as the Royal Institute of International Affairs. Um, that thing is pretty much the British version or the Eastern Hemisphere version of Council on Foreign Relations. So, again, if you want to know more about these things, feel free to go to my X profile and check out my videos on Rumble. But completely different rabbit hole. But to sum it up quickly, after World War One, the baby eaters had their first attempt at trying to create like a more concentrated body of power that has power over countries, in the sense of like it was their first shot at like the United Nations of what we know now, but back then it was called the League of Nations, and it failed because back in the States, they mentioned how like, no, we're not gonna like vote and then vote for you to have the power to create policies and whatnot above here, like, you know what I mean, like to like screw the proper legislative procedures, like we're not going to approve that at all. So to circumvent that, in the US they came up with the Council on Foreign Relations, and then back in England they came up with the Royal Institute of International Affairs, and these people are pretty much think tanks, with think tanks that like communicate with each other. They're like brother and sister in the whole situation till this day. So Lynn Forrester, Rothschild membership in both. Mark Carney, as early as, what's the date on this? 2024, was appointed president of Chatham House. Oh, okay. So back in 2024, Mark Carney was the president of a think tank where a billionaire princess also was a membership of, who is also Jeffrey Epstein's boss, who he also has a company that he shares with her. But there's no ties between Carney and Epstein and the Rothschilds. So back to Mark Carney. He's also participated in Council on Foreign Relations events. So that just goes back into how those two entities are connected, and how if you kind of belong to one, you hang out with both. Scrolling down, we have an NBC article. See, I like this time around, I'm going to try to pick out more like mainstream media references for the normies and whatnot, because I used to hate when we used to do like the broadcast and whatnot, and share something, and then the person would see the source and they'd be like, that's not a real source. But anyway,
Yeah, we'll do better to provide you with information from the people that have been lying to you for decades.
yes. But anyway, so Jeffrey Epstein was also a member of the Council on Foreign Relations. Right. And he was a member up until 2009. And his big like conviction and whatnot, like his first big one, was in 2008. So they still had him on the membership roll, baby eater diddler. 1 year after, then again, I don't know if it's like a full year, it could be like a couple months. It just trailed over into the next calendar year, whatever, but didn't get canned from the Council on Foreign Relations right away. All right, cool. So then, just if you search up Rothschilds on the Epstein library at the DOJ, you get 12,056 results. That's how much communication and files they have between Epstein and the Rothschilds. If you search Carney, you get something like, I can't remember what it was. Do you remember?
No, wait, go up. Sorry, I know everybody can't see this, but he's currently showing emails from the Epstein files, and I just want to read this. You've got it underlined there. Who is this email to?
Which one?
This one, yeah, that one. Jeffrey,
one?
yeah, Jeffrey E to.
Oh, Peter Thiel.
So, and this is okay. So from Jeffrey to Peter Thiel, and
Yeah.
he states, as you probably know, I represent the Rothschilds.
Right. And then for those who don't know, I'm sure many do know who Peter Thiel is. He's your creator of Palantir, one of the PayPal mafia people. that created PayPal with Elon back in the day. He is considered your mentor of current Vice President J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance, on record, saying his political career would not exist without the mentorship of Peter Thiel. Also a huge, this time around, not the first two times, but this time around, a huge Trump supporter. So, like, they're the parties don't exist that high up in the baby eating world. Like, you have the guy that funded what Republicans and the current presidential administration conversing with Jeffrey Epstein, who is hanging out with Rothschilds, who's hanging out with the Carneys. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't exist, the divide.
Yeah.
Um,
I think a lot of people don't realize that.
yes, the quicker people realize, like, stop choosing a team. Like, when has an election ever resulted in, oh, my life is fixed and now better from the political standpoint?
An
And
election has never resulted in anything good for us.
Right.
Not for the peasants.
The money gets more worthless consistently. Things become more expensive. Our freedoms and liberties slowly dwindle consistently. It's two separate roads, or however many parties your country has, 3 or 4, all taking different windy roads, but the end result or the end stopping point is the same for every road. It's my personal belief, anyways.
No, I think that's very well said.
Another example of the type of institution Chatham House is, or formerly the Royal Institute of International Affairs. They've given out awards to such people as in 2013, they gave Hillary Clinton an award, right? They gave him it's called a Chatham House Prize winner. The prize recognizes individuals and organizations for exceptional contributions to international affairs. So 2013, Hillary Clinton got one.
Miss Baby Eater Evergreen Extraordinaire.
Wasn't that like right around the time of Pizzagate 2013?
Pizzagate was 2016 it came out.
Damn it. That would have been funny. You gave her an award for chopping up. Anyways, 2016, John Kerry. No, 2023, Volodymyr Zelensky.
No.
This is who they're giving awards to. And then in my little presentation here, one of many pictures you can find of our girl Lynn Forrester hanging out with Mark Carney, doing these webcam chat sessions for their, I'm just going to call everything a think tank. Or
Council for Inclusive Capitalism with the Vatican. Because Vatican always does good things.
Right. So they're together on that company, and he sits also on the steering committee in that company that the portion of the steering committee that communicates with the Vatican.
Oh my God.
And then just a little more clippings here. The British philanthropist who brought Epstein and Andrew together, back to Prince Andrew, Ghislaine Maxwell, claims that Lady de Rothschild, who introduced the two men to each other in the early 2000s. And then just another example here of like the power of the Council on Foreign Relations. We're looking at a picture of Jimmy Carter, Bill Clinton, George Bush Jr., Barack Obama, George Bush Sr., and then going in that order again. Jimmy Carter was a member of the Council on Foreign Relations. Bill Clinton was a member of the Council on Foreign Relations. Bill Bush Jr., his vice president, was member on the Council on Foreign Relations. Barack Obama, his vice president, was member on the Council on Foreign Relations. And then Big Papa Bush was a member of Council on Foreign Relations.
Wow.
Right, so then I'm going to kind of stop there, but this rabbit hole can go down a whole nother journey where you bring the Bilderbergs into the situation, and then you start connecting how Mark Carney sits on the steering committee of the Bilderberg meetings, which goes back to that Peter Thiel also sitting on that steering committee. So again, you have Peter Thiel, who is your mentor to J.D. Vance, hanging out with Mark Carney behind closed doors. Chrystia Freeland used to go to these meetings, or still does to this day. She started going when he became Prime Minister. And then you just have like fake WWE arguing between like, we're going to annex Canada, blah, 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 between Trump. But meanwhile, like,
They're all going to the same shit.
Yeah, like Trump's big donor and big supporter, like hangs out with Carney at like secret society meetings, like it's all bullshit. But that will be a rabbit hole for another day. I'm gonna turn it over to you.
Wow. So that was informative. I've been down an Epstein rabbit hole countless times at this point, and I did not know most of what you said there. So that's crazy.
Perfect.
I guess my side to this and the rabbit hole I went down today was kind of connecting more of the Canadian side to this, and I ended up doing a kind of a thread on X about it. So I'm going to read that thread, and then I'm also going to tie it into Justin Trudeau, because I think that's also very important. And I think this entire thing highlights obviously Epstein's involvement with everybody. And that's not to say that everybody that he was involved with was trafficking children, but I firmly believe that many of them were involved in it. I know you're familiar with the books because you told me to read them initially many years ago. One Nation Under Blackmail by Whitney Webb. And those they do discuss kind of what this all is really about and how all of this started. So a lot of the reason, I guess, that they do this exploiting of children and politicians with children is to have blackmail material on them. So there was, and Dave, I don't know if you remember the room number that they were using, but you probably know it like I do as the Blue Room in the Plaza Hotel.
Right.
And they would bring prominent politicians into there. I believe the director of the CIA, was it director of CIA or FBI, was involved in it. And they would put, like, one example was there was 2 naked boys put in this room, and they brought a politician in, and they had like a back way into this room somehow, and they would bring these people in and snap photos of them in a room with naked kids, even if nothing was happening. And then they keep that, and they have all of this crazy blackmail material. So I think it's important just to maybe say not necessarily everybody that was involved with them was, into this stuff. I think the vast majority was, but I do think that there's cases where wrong place, wrong time, and now we have blackmail material on you.
Now you're screwed and stuck.
Yeah. Do you think that's kind of fair, like a fair assessment?
For sure. And there's probably even people that like got away and, kept their mouth shut or got killed or whatever. But yeah, that's generally fair assessment for sure.
Okay. So with that being said, I kind of want to tie the Canadian side together, because the Canadian side is really weird. And the Canadian side, I do believe personally that there was a lot of trafficking involved, and that a lot of the prominent politicians that we know here in Canada were likely involved or had knowledge of it. So, and prominent billionaires and stuff like that. The people that are in the club that we're not in. Anyways, so Jeffrey Epstein's mentor, Les Wexner, shared deep ties with the Canadian billionaire Charles Bronfman. If you don't know who the Bronfmans are, the quick explanation is the owners of the Seagram's liquor fortune. So Charles Bronfman and Les Wexner actually created what is called the Mega Group, and it's a highly influential network of wealthy Jewish philanthropists and business leaders. So this group used to meet biannually, and they would collaborate on things like Jewish education, philanthropy, and pro-Israel initiatives. Shocker. Les Wexner was a longtime friend and mentor of Epstein's, and he also served on the board of directors for Brascan, and that was actually what later evolved into Brookfield. And if you don't know, well, I feel at this point most people know what Brookfield is and Carney's involvement. So Mark Carney worked for Brookfield. Some say he still does. I would have to agree with that. I think he does it in a covert way. So the Bronfmans actually turned Brascan into what we now know as Brookfield. And as I said, Mark Carney worked for Brookfield. And then obviously you mentioned Mark Carney's sister-in-law has had a long-standing relationship with Ghislaine Maxwell. I don't think I need to do the dot connection with Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. We all know that by now. But that relationship started in high school, has continued into the present. And, you know, we've all seen that photo you were talking about initially, but we've seen that they spend time together in real life prior to Maxwell's incarceration, if that's in fact her that's been incarcerated. I would argue it's not.
Right.
Anyways, it doesn't look like her. So why is this important? Well, the Bronfmans are important in this web because the Bronfman, well, not all of them, but several members of the Bronfman family were actually responsible for the NXIVM sex cult, which was trafficking thousands and thousands and thousands of women across Canada, Mexico, and the US. And then the other big connection with the Bronfmans is Charles Bronfman's connection to the former PM of Israel, Ehud Barak. So Charles Bronfman, there was a huge scandal there where there was money from Core Industries, which is where Bronfman served as chairman, and it was illegally routed into Ehud Barak's political campaign, which is a very big no-no. And the connection there to Epstein is obviously Ehud Barak and Epstein. If you were not digging into the Epstein files, there is emails upon emails upon emails between Ehud Barak and Epstein, and they had a very, very, very long-running friendship, but also a very tight business relationship. So they had joint business ventures together. Excuse me. And Ehud Barak spent a lot of time at the Manhattan apartment that Epstein owned, as well as on his private island. So that's kind of the Canadian connections there. It's a really big web that spans, well, all the way to Israel, which is crazy. But then there's also another Canadian connection, and
If I may quickly, just was curious as you were dropping some truth bombs there, and I did a little quick search and just came up with this. Jeffrey Epstein acted as the primary intermediary who facilitated the relationship between former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak and banking heiress Ariane de Rothschild. So, because I remember watching something earlier, whatever, eventually, at some point, where someone was mentioning how Epstein introduced Ehud Barak to the Rothschilds because Barak was like, "Yo, introduce me" or whatever, and yeah, he did. Anyways, carry on. Just there you go, Rothschilds in there again. Everything joining together
every single time. Every single time. So this is actually from a post I did some time ago, but I want to reference it because I kind of tied everything up in this post, and it's very easy to go through. But I did a post a while ago that was the Carney Bronfman Trudeau connection. So we already went through kind of the connection between the Bronfmans and Epstein, and Carney, sorry. But what a lot of people don't know is the Trudeau connection. So there is a Bronfman named Stephen Bronfman. So he is the son of Charles Bronfman. And he has played a significant role in the Liberal Party of Canada. And when I say significant, I mean he has been the key fundraiser and the financial strategist for the Liberal Party. He was also the senior advisor to Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, or former Prime Minister, rather. So Bronfman was instrumental in transforming the party's fundraising efforts, notably helping to nearly double donations in the lead up to the 2015 federal election. And that's the election that we saw Trudeau rise to power, unfortunately. It was a sad time for Canada. So Bronfman has had a long history with the Liberal Party, but he's had an even longer history with the Trudeau family. So his connection to the Trudeau family, outside of what I just mentioned, was also that he attended Justin Trudeau's wedding. So I don't think you really invite acquaintances to a wedding. That's just my take. I don't know if you have a take on that.
Agreed. With your take.
Yep. And then on top of that, if the Bronfmans weren't shady enough, his link to the Paradise Papers, which I don't really want to rabbit hole into today. I think we save that for another day. But if you're curious about that, I highly recommend maybe Googling that and or DuckDuckGoing it or Yandexing, whatever you use, and kind of dig into that. The Panama Papers is just so incredibly shady, and Stephen Bronfman was a big part of that. So there is, very obviously these connections between all of these elite people that they don't really allow us peasants to see. We think that they're arguing back and forth and one side is fighting for us and the other side is not, and vice versa. And then behind the scenes, they're all part of this club and they're basically laughing at us.
Yep.
And
also, I think it just goes to like what my X profile says of just like control of information equals control of perception equals control of behavior equals control of society. And they've just gotten control of all that business.
They do.
They control the information that the masses intake that affects the way they behave, and they got a lock on the game.
It's true. And I think the biggest piece is just, always follow the money, because the money is what takes you places. The money is what shows the connections. Following the money never fails you. And honestly, a lot of the stuff that I talked about today, at least on my side, that was all done with just kind of following money trails and, okay, well, who owns this business and who owns this business? And, what connection does that business maybe have to Justin Trudeau or to Les Wexner and things like that. So for those of you listening that kind of want to dive into that stuff, my thing is always follow the money. Dave, I don't know if you have anything.
No, I agree. Always follow the money is definitely a good place to start, but that's even becoming harder because
it's true.
They're getting to the point where it's just like shell company, and like by the time you take the time to follow the trail and whatnot, you probably have to go through at certain circumstances like 15 to 20 just bogus companies before you really get to like the meat and potatoes of what you're looking for.
Yep. And actually, speaking of shell companies, Jeffrey Epstein was like the king of shell companies. And there was, if somebody wants a rabbit hole, there was a shell company that he had that I don't know, Dave, if you remember the name of this, but I think it was called the Monarch.
Can't remember. He had a handful. Quickly, while I have it though, first cousin of Stephen Bronfman is Edgar Bronfman.
Yep.
Who is a listed member of the Council on Foreign Relations. Sorry, just wanted to add that in.
Yes. Okay, so that I did know that. He's not a good man. Everybody should also look into him. Honestly, the Bronfmans just in their own are such a huge rabbit hole. And the NXIVM sex cult, like I always mention them when I'm talking about Epstein because with what Epstein was doing and the fact that the Bronfmans were involved with Epstein, um, it shouldn't be surprising to anybody that one was running a sex cult and the other one was, well, I guess running a sex cult, but not the cult part.
Right.
I don't know, whatever you want to call Zorro Ranch and the goings ons at Epstein Island. Like,
Oh,
um,
it was like byproduct. It was just like,
yeah,
let's try to create the perfect race depending on what happened over here, and genetics, and what's the word I'm looking
yeah,
for? The people that are into creating policies based on creating like the ideal human race.
yeah, yeah. That's
There's a word for it, and I know this word.
like eugenics.
There you go.
Yeah, yeah, and they're like, I know a lot of people don't have the time or the patience or whatever to go through the Epstein files, but there is so much weird stuff. Like, it is everything from cloning to like impregnating women and stealing their babies. It's wild. There was probably one of the most cryptic things I found in those files was uh, uh, a coded letter that a young girl wrote. And in the coded letter, like, she said she was impregnated and that Ghislaine stole her baby and she just wants to know where her baby is. And it's a whole thing. It was absolutely wild.
Like,
So,
sorry, it still blows my mind where like emails like that exist. People have read them. Nothing has been done about it, and then every single time people start talking about it, just Trump bombs Iran, I guess.
yeah, that's pretty much actually what happens. I still can't get over that it's been, however many years, and there's not a single person. Like, Ghislaine Maxwell trafficked thousands of children to nobody.
Right.
To
There have been
nobody.
more people arrested for mean internet posts than customers of Jeffrey Epstein.
There's a tweet in that.
Right?
There really is. If you don't tweet it, I will.
Not right now because we're recording.
Correct. So it was the Butterfly Trust that Epstein had. And
Gotcha.
I'm sorry, I'm just looking because I actually did a post on this. So I want to talk about this because the Butterfly Trust is significant if you know who Kathy O'Brien is.
Of course.
So she was telling the truth the whole time. I don't care what anybody says. So the Butterfly Trust was set up around 2013 and 2014, and it was basically a private financial vehicle that Epstein used to move money kind of under the radar. The trust held accounts at major global financial institutions, most notably the Dutch Bank. I don't know how to say that. And
Deutsche
JP
Bank.
Morgan. Yeah, JP Morgan. So the Butterfly Trust was used to funnel over 2.65 million US dollars through more than 120 payments to alleged beneficiaries, which included co-conspirators, covering things like rent, tuition, and living expenses. And on top of that, it routed $7 million to quietly pay off legal settlements and another $6 million to cover legal fees for Epstein and associates. So what that means is, he was basically using this specific trust to pay for people's lives. It was hush money. That's the easiest way to say it.
It was the I don't go to jail fund.
Yes. And, trusts are pretty standard tools for wealth management. However, forensic accountants found that the Butterfly Trust had no legitimate business purpose whatsoever. It was strictly a vehicle to fund and protect his illegal doings. And in the Epstein case, it actually became a central piece of evidence. So they actually used the transaction records to sue the banks for their complicity in facilitating some of the financial stuff that he was doing. And I bring up the Butterfly Trust because if you know who Kathy O'Brien is, which many do, some don't, she has been speaking out since, oh my God, Dave, like 80s,
Yeah, at,
if
at
if
least
not longer.
80s, 90s, maybe 70s. Nah, 70s I think is when it was happening to her. 60s, 70s or something like that was
Yeah.
happening.
So she was trafficked to countless politicians, and she actually wrote the book Transformation of America. The book is absolutely insane. It's a difficult read in the sense of it's very disturbing, but it's I think it's a very important read. And she very often in that references Project Monarch, and that's why I say the Butterfly Trust is important, because there is a correlation between a lot of these weird sex trafficking rings and political ties that always mention butterflies. It's it's very strange. So, if you haven't read her book, I would highly recommend you do. That book actually is a good lead up to kind of what we've seen going on with Epstein, because it didn't start with Epstein. This has been going on for ever. And there's so many other branches from this. So, things like what was that island? North Fox Island. Um that was a really bad one. There what was the Canadian guy? Peter Nygaard.
Yeah.
Well, Puff Daddy.
Yep.
Like it is not coincidence that this has all been happening over and over again. It is not the people that we're seeing fall for these things are the people that they set up to take the fall. So the Epsteins of the world, the Diddies of the world, the Maxwells of the world, those are just the fall people. It hasn't stopped, and I don't believe it ever will until people, decide to stand up against it. But um there's other examples as well. There was Dean Corll, who was a serial killer who was tied in with Roy Ames, and that goes. I don't even want to get into that rabbit hole, but it attaches itself to John Wayne Gacy, who had huge political ties. Um, a lot of the major serial killers that we know of have huge political ties. So we hear what we hear through the media, but we're not always digging in to go, okay, how did this happen? And serial killers are a whole other thing, because if you look into them, oftentimes they were institutionalized, and then one has to wonder, okay, well, you know were these institutions doing MK Ultra practices? And I say that because if what is his name, Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber,
Yeah.
he was very much a victim of MK Ultra.
This is crazy that you are mentioning this because, like, literally not too long ago, within like the last 2 weeks, since we decided we are going to do this, I have encountered, and like for the very first time, and like the algorithm has fed me, because I'm trying to like mix it up more than just like secret societies. The algorithm has fed me serial killers and the potential of their influence of like what you just mentioned right there, like institutionalized. Well, on paper, do they say they have this mental condition, but now they're just a subject for testing for this type of mind control. And then what's the end result? Oh, look, it's a serial killer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there is so many that this maybe we should just do an episode on that, but that have fallen into that category where they were institutionalized, or if they weren't institutionalized, they were at prominent schools where MK Ultra experiments were being done, i.e. Stanford University. I believe Princeton was involved. McGill University in Canada was involved. So there's so many branches to this, and it is such a weird web. And I do apologize actually to the audience, because I feel like we have kind of branched out and gone to all these different things, but it truly is this messy. And we'll try to keep it more organized as we continue on with episodes and stuff like that. But I think we just really wanted to highlight today how kind of deep this goes, and that it's not just as simple as kind of, one person in the middle that branches out to many. It's like, I don't know, an octopus almost. It's so
That's what I had
weird.
in my head.
Yeah, it's the only way I could explain it. So, we'll try to in the future elaborate a little bit more. This was more just kind of our introductory episode, and we wanted to say hello and at least give a little taste of kind of the stuff that we'll be diving into. But it's complicated and it's a very weird world. I think truth is stranger than fiction.
Well said, well said. And before we say goodbye, I had to check, and let's not elaborate on this because it's a whole, again, other can of worms. But when you were talking about butterfly and butterfly tattoos, I did a quick search of, does Erica Kirk have a butterfly tattoo?
Oh
She
my
has
God.
2.
I will say I also have a butterfly tattoo, but
Yeah, whatever, you mind control, bitch.
it is actually for a cat of mine that died. So anyway,
Yeah, but
like
you
the
haven't been in
transformation.
videos like talking about stuff to do with EMP pulses and trying to sell product to the CIA and then
Correct.
hanging around Mar-a-Lago and
Yeah,
anyways,
yeah.
whole different yeah.
Yeah, so
I think that's a good spot to call her a day.
I agree. Again, it's a big web, so I thank everybody for sticking with us. We have some really awesome guests coming up. I'm so excited for this. I've been excited all week. I'm so excited to continue on with this and get to talk to some of these really awesome people. So, thank you everybody for joining us. And just before we go, I do want to say don't forget to go and check out estunknown.co. I will put a link in the episode as well, so that if you want to go check it out, use the code Alice10 to get a discount, and that is for 7 days starting July 12th. And that's all I've got. So, Dave, anything for you?
Nope, like a fat kid in dodgeball, I'm out.
Awesome. Thanks for listening, everybody, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Down the rabbit hole, Alice falling out past what you know. Keep your eyes wide, stay in the glow. Alice falling, let the secret show.